My name is Sarah Adams, 32 years old. 7 years ago, I married a divorced man with a child. Together, we're raising 3 daughters, his daughter from his previous marriage, Mia, and our 2 biological children. I met my husband through work, and he seemed to like me from the beginning, then persistently pursuing me. I was initially overwhelmed by his passion, but was drawn to his kindness, as he had been raising Mia single-handedly with some help from his family. Before we started dating, I met Mia and we quickly got along well. After overcoming the initial problem of getting along with Mia, my husband's courtship intensified. Even though I was cautious about becoming Mia's stepmother, encouraged by my husband's hope for me to be like a sister to her, we decided to marry quickly, just a few months after meeting. Soon after our marriage, I was blessed with 2 more daughters, and life seemed to be going smoothly. However, by the time our 3rd daughter was born, my husband started spending less time at home, and our relationship deteriorated. He began to berate me, saying things like, "You're useless, only able to give birth to girls." These harsh days continued for years until something shocking happened. One day, as usual, I returned home from work after picking up my 2nd daughter from after-school care and my youngest from daycare. To my surprise, I found my husband, who was usually never home at that time, sitting on the living room sofa with a very young, flashy-looking girl. Sensing the uncomfortable atmosphere, I quietly told the kids to stay in their room. After making sure they were upstairs, I approached the 2 on the sofa. Suddenly, my husband blurted out something unbelievable. "She's pregnant with a boy. I'm done with women who can only bear daughters. Sign the divorce paper." I was dumbfounded and could only muster a feeble response. "What? Your mistress is pregnant?" "Yeah. This girl, my mistress. Isn't she cute? Just 19, young and vibrant. Maybe younger women are more likely to conceive boys." He smirked, stroking his mistress's head in a way that made me feel sick. Her sweet, modern makeup made me feel nauseous. "What do you mean by that? You don't know? They say women who enjoy sex are more likely to conceive boys. That's a common belief, yes. So, younger girls are more sensitive and more likely to enjoy it, meaning they're more likely to have boys. That's the idea." Hearing such crass, juvenile talk made my skin crawl, and his idiotic way of speaking infuriated me to the core. And as if that wasn't irritating enough, the woman, speaking in a deliberately sweet voice, continued her words. "Joey, that's too harsh. Just because she's older doesn't mean you have to be so blunt. It's okay. She needs things spelled out." She fell for me easily, quickly took Mia under her wing, and slipped right into our home. "But Joey, didn't you pursue her aggressively?" "That's what Mia told me." "What? Mia told you that?" "Yeah, your love stories are so entertaining. Are you trying to be jealous?" "Ha! Why would I be jealous of an older woman like her?" "Well, yeah. Looking back, I was desperate then. I had to face Mia alone, and I needed an heir quickly. So, I ended up with this mediocre woman. I should have found someone young and vibrant like Layla here and had a son right away." "Hey, Joey, that's mean. If that had happened, we wouldn't have met. That's so cruel." "What dash? No. I'm just joking. Layla, you're the one for me." "Fine. I'll forgive you this time, Joey. I love you too." I stood there, trembling slightly, as they continued their distasteful conversation. My husband, noticing my reaction, turned his attention back to me. "Hey! Are you listening? I said we're getting divorced. You, with your inability to bear sons. Is that really what you think? What? That I'm only good for bearing daughters? What, you thought I was joking? You know what? The only reason I divorced my first wife was because she couldn't give birth to anything but girls. So, I quickly started looking for a talented and beautiful woman who could bear me a son. That's when I found you at work. I was desperate to win you over. And just when I thought I was finally going to make a son with my new wife, another girl. And years later, yet another girl. Seriously, I have the worst luck with women. That's awful. What? Awful? It's your fault for getting all high and mighty just because a guy with some money was interested in you. I didn't get with you just because you have money. Whatever. Doesn't matter now. Layla's finally pregnant with a boy. Finally, my luck's turning around. Now I'm gonna focus on making more kids. Making more kids, even though she's already pregnant. And to say such things only after knowing the gender, it's like he's just claiming his victory. You never told me you wanted a boy. What? When we got married, you only said you wanted me to get along with Mia. You never mentioned needing a son. What? You just didn't ask. The Addams family has a tradition of the eldest son inheriting everything. Naturally, as the eldest, it's my duty to have a son to continue the legacy. I didn't know that, and your parents never told me either. That's why you're no good. Marrying the eldest son means understanding these things without being told. You casually decided to marry me just because you were pushed into it and the kids got attached to you. I didn't just casually decided to marry you. Whether you intended or not, that's how it turned out. You're hopeless. Even young Layla understands this better than you. It's all your fault. Sign the divorce papers and get out. What about the kids? What? What's going to happen to the kids? What? Obviously, you're taking them with you. They'll be in the way when she becomes my wife. Just leave already. Just like his thrown away words, my daughters and I were being discarded by Joey. Nothing I said would change his mind. Silently, I went upstairs, quickly packed our belongings into suitcases and bags. Then, I quietly spoke to the two kids in their room. We're going to live at Grandma's house from today. Although surprised by the sudden news, the girls were calmer than expected and packed their favorite books and toys into their backpacks. The three of us then went downstairs. Finally ready to leave? You've stayed long enough. Hurry up and sign. Okay. I said, deliberately raising my voice. I signed the paper on the table next to Joey's pre-written signature. I carefully signed it and handed it to him. Satisfied now? Yes, thanks. Now you can go. Just then, the doorbell rang. It was my mother on the intercom. What? Why is your mother here? I asked her to come with her car, since there's a lot of stuff for the three of us. It's none of your business anymore, now that you've signed the paper. I urged the kids to the door. They were excited to see their beloved grandmother. Then, footsteps came down the stairs from the second floor. Mia had come down. Mia, you were here. I heard everything. I see. Well, now you know the situation. You'll have to ask Dad about the details from now on. Hey. What? What about me? What do you mean? What's going to happen to me now? Are you asking me that, not Dad? Who else can I ask? What will happen to me once Emma and Lily leave? Mia asked me, panic in her voice. I couldn't help but let out a small laugh before quietly responding to Mia. It's impossible. I can't do anything about you. Why not? Because you betrayed me, didn't you? Suddenly, the air in the living room felt tense. I could hear my mother calling from the entrance. Could you take the kids to the diner and get them some snacks? I need to talk and then I'll join you later, I told her, keeping the children away from the house. I thought about how they couldn't say a final goodbye to their father and sister that they'd been living together, but honestly, I didn't want the children to have anything to do with these two anymore. I didn't plan to let them meet, and I'm sure they didn't want to meet the kids either. I had to let go of that sentiment. So, where were we? Mia showed her emotions at my forced smile. Why are you laughing? What do you mean I betrayed you? I've been friendly with you, and I've loved my sisters. What betrayal are you talking about? Oh. What? Mia, are you doing such things unconsciously? What? I'm asking if you're introducing women to Dad without realizing it? She clearly hadn't expected me to know about that. Not only Mia but also Joey, still touching Layla, didn't move his hand, both utterly speechless. Why? How? How did I know? Their faces were filled with endless questions directed at me. Why are you so surprised? Surprised, because you didn't think I knew? You never showed any signs of knowing. So, you're not denying it, huh? Mia, caught off guard, forgot to deny it and now showed a panicked expression. She's always been easy to read. It was the same back then. Mia, you suddenly wanted to become a model in high school and joined a modeling agency, right? But it wasn't your idea, it was Dad's, wasn't it? You always said you wanted to be a nurse before that. What? Dreams change all the time when you're a kid. I don't need you nagging me about it. That's right. Keep quiet, you nagging old woman. The two of them denied it in a panicked manner. With each word they said, my heart grew colder and colder. Really? But wasn't Dad the most enthusiastic about it? What? He always did the pickups and drop-offs for your model lessons and auditions, right? Even when I offered to do it since he's busy, he always refused. That's because you're annoying. Huh? See, I told you. Nagging old woman. I know. What? I know you hate me. So. But think about it. Isn't it weird for a father to take half days or full days off for his daughter's lessons or auditions? And there were more such occasions than I knew about, right? I only knew about half of your actual schedule. There were probably twice as many opportunities. Am I wrong? Mia can't lie. It's all over her face. Why did she take on so much, hiding everything to cater to Dad's whims? I needed to ask her that today. I can read what you are thinking right now. You are like, how does she know? What? You're acting like, how could she possibly know? I hid it so well. Huh? What are you talking about? That makes no sense. Well, never mind. I don't feel like getting into a long discussion now, so I'll just spill the beans. Mia, your modeling agency is right across the street from my office. What? Come on, don't lie. Your office is in Midtown Manhattan. Joey interjected, clearly flustered. Probably because the situation was worse for him. We moved to Upper East Side 3 years ago. Right in front of Mia's agency. What? If you think I'm lying, you can check. I have no reason to lie about this. Lying to you too is just a waste of time. Joey's hands shook as he fumbled with his phone, unable to hide his dismay. The information I just shared would soon appear on his screen. Mia, peeking over his shoulder. No way, muttered a quiet, with noticeably less conviction than before. Next to that building, there's a parking lot, right? I've seen Joey's car there. I thought it was odd because I hadn't heard anything about it. Then I started noticing the car parked there often. But half the time, it was on days I wasn't aware of any schedule. At first, I thought maybe I just hadn't been told. But then one day, I looked outside and saw Dad walking with a young girl. I thought Mia was with them, but it didn't seem like it. I watched as they got into Dad's car, familiarly, and then, well, I saw them kissing passionately through the windshield. That's when I realized what was going on. And after that, I saw it many times, with different girls. The three of them fell silent at my abrupt revelation. I had seen this woman, sitting in front of me, with my own eyes, just like I had seen the other girls. It had been in the last few months. So there's no doubt they met under the same circumstances, and their silence was their answer. In this uncomfortable, empty moment, Mia was the one to break the silence. How is that a betrayal by me? That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't it? I just joined the agency. You only saw Dad, right? There's no proof I did anything. Proof, huh? The fact that you're talking about proof suggests something's going on, doesn't it? What? Because you're saying things like only dad and there's no proof. You're implying there's something to hide. What? That's just nonsense. It's not nonsense, Mia. You blink a lot when you lie. What? See, you're doing it now. Are you lying? Mia's face turned red as she vehemently denied it. Thanks for reacting exactly as I expected to my bluff. Mia. Exposing your own lies, how honest of you. Mia, are you going to throw Dad under the bus? What? Are you saying you only saw Dad because you want to save yourself? I didn't mean it like that. Mia. Are you going to betray me? Are you going to abandon me? Poor Joey, he's really clueless. Can't he see that he's just admitted his guilt? Mia tries to calm him, and that is when he realized it. Well, whatever they reveal now, I already know the truth. I don't care what Joey says now, and I'm fine with getting a divorce. My concern isn't with Joey, but with Mia, my stepdaughter. Mia, you've always hated me, haven't you? Saying it out loud hurt me, even though I was the one speaking. You knew. I knew it, but hearing her not deny it even a little bit made my maternal feelings bleed. I never liked you, not for a moment since we met. I've always hated you. I was nice to you only for Dad's sake. I will always be Dad's number one. That's why I wanted to fulfill any request Dad made to me. So that's why you accepted my marriage to him. Only because Dad asked me to. Not for you. Being nice to Emma and Lily was also because they weren't Dad's number one, right? Of course. Dad was disappointed when Emma and Lily were born, right? He was like, oh, another girl. That's why I knew they couldn't be Dad's number one, so I could be kind to them and get along. But I wasn't Dad's number one either, right? You heard how he treated me. Why have you always hated me? What? Are you dumb? Regardless of how he treats you, you and Dad are married, right? You're legally bound. You, a stranger, have a reason to have your name next to Dad's. I never thought Mia would feel that way. Sure, marriage is a legally strong relationship. Breaking it would bring a complicated reality. But Mia is undoubtedly related by blood to my husband, a bond we don't have. It's like a vow that never goes away, no matter what. But was that bond a source of insecurity for Mia? Then why did you help Dad look for a new partner? I wanted to get him away from you, obviously. I can't stand seeing Dad with you. I'd do anything to help with that. But by doing that, aren't you just helping create a new person in my place? If I'm gone, and someone new comes, won't it just be the same? That's why I introduced someone I knew and liked from the start. What? Dad wants a young girl who can give him a son. I'd rather have someone I know and like with Dad. She knows how much I love Dad. She won't try to be his number one. It's a mutual benefit. So you joined the modeling agency for that reason? Yes. The agency is full of pretty, cute girls in good figure, perfect DNA-wise. I wasn't sure what was perfect about it, but whatever it was, I was shocked. I despised my husband for letting her think that way and disappointed in myself for not realizing it. Mia, still a high schooler, had emotions too immature to handle, and he had been exploiting them. You knew about her feelings, right? And you used them to find a partner. Do you realize how cruel that is? So what? My daughter loving me the most is a cute and helpless emotion, right? I just cherish that. That's all. I don't see it that way. What you're doing is despicable. If she wants it, then it can't be helped, right? Right, Mia? Yes. I want to fulfill Dad's wishes. You, nosy woman, just keep quiet. I understand her feelings well. Growing up, her parents divorced, and she lived with her father, just the two of them. He was her only family, a father who allowed her to be dependent, probably the most important person in her world. It's natural for her to be wary of someone like me entering their lives. I understand her feelings painfully well. I've been around her for 7 years. I know exactly how she feels. But still, this is unacceptable. Her most important person had been using her all along. And she probably realized it. The result of her blind devotion to her father was now hitting her as a harsh reality. Mia, you asked me earlier, what will happen to me? Why did you ask me that? What? Is it wrong to ask? It's not that. Why did you ask me? You hate me. You want to listen to Dad's requests, right? That's. Biting her lower lip and looking down, Mia endured while Joey and his woman sat holding hands, unaffected. The sight was almost too much to bear. Mia, you don't have to listen to Dad's requests, you know? What? Mia, didn't Dad tell you to go with me because he's marrying that woman? As I spoke, tears overflowed from Mia's eyes, wetting her cheeks one after another. What must she have thought the moment she was told to go with me, someone she hated? How can a father, after using his own daughter, say such a thing so casually? I felt a deep revulsion from the depths of my being towards the carefree jerk in front of me. A man like that deserves hell. I decided to drop the final bomb. Mia, it's okay. The baby in that woman's belly might not be Dad's, so he can't marry her. Someone gasped loudly at my words. Again, silence fell among the three of them. Joey and Mia's eyes widened, while the woman lost color in her face, breaking out in a cold sweat. Right, Layla, as I asked her deliberately, causing her fingertips to tremble even more, her eyes losing their color. What do you mean by that? What? I'm asking what you meant by what you just said. Oh, should I really say it? What? After all this, there's no point in holding back. All right then, I'll tell you. I pretended not to hear the faint stop and acted as if Joey's voice was the only one reaching my ears. This woman, she's been seeing several other men. What? When you're not at the agency, another man comes to pick her up. What? And it's not just one man. It's like a daily rotation. If they pick her up by car, well, they do things in the car, like what you did with her. If they walk, they're all over each other and go off somewhere. The woman, now sharply questioned by Joey, was utterly frightened, shaking, and tearing up. Even without asking, her reaction was enough. So, the baby isn't mine? I don't know. What? You were with other men too? I'm sorry. I thought it was strange. I always use protection. Really? I even thought the weeks were a bit off. What? You kept track of the weeks and didn't check when you thought it was off? Normally you'd ask if it's off, right? I never thought there'd be another man. While listening to this, I wondered how he could go ahead with his plans, knowing there might be a child that wasn't his. Didn't he think calmly about the possibility of raising someone else's child? And, in the first place, don't you think it's weird? A 40-year-old man and a 19-year-old girl? They wouldn't be together without some reason, right? That is there any reason? Dad was paying her money. What? Dad was giving money to her and other girls he's been with. He bought them lots of things. So, he was basically a sugar dad. And yet, they talk about dating? Marriage? That's crazy. Mia knew this and pointed it out. It's like a story from a mad world. Is that really dating? What? Is that what you call dating, young lady? The woman, now separated from Joey, sat quietly on the sofa. She probably never intended to marry him, seeing a chance to use a man with more financial power after getting pregnant. Pursuing this further seemed pointless. You're so pathetic. What? You thought you were in a relationship, but those girls were just humoring a well-off older man. And you even thought about marriage. Being deceived so conveniently in front of your daughter, that's just the worst. Joey's face turned bright red, and the woman's went pale. They had a lot to discuss between them now. But that's none of my business. Well, I'll take this paper with me. I casually picked up the divorce papers left carelessly on the table. I thought I heard a faint but what was written on this paper was a done deal, at least for me. Joey started to say something but stopped, realizing it was futile upon seeing my face. He retracted his hand and just watched me leave the living room. Wait a minute. It was Mia who followed me. I put on my shoes without turning back, hearing a faint thank you from behind. The first and the last thanks from Mia, who had always hated me. Goodbye. I knew Mia wouldn't want me to see her face. Without looking back, I opened the familiar front door and left. 5 years have passed since then. I divorced and rented a house near my parents, raising the kids. Emma and Lily have grown up a lot and are a great help around the house. Today, they made dinner for me because I had to work late, and when I arrived home, the delicious smell of lasagna greeted me. What's for dinner today, lasagna? I asked as the girls rushed towards me. Mom! Welcome home! Today, I cooked with Lily. Thanks. I could smell it from the door, my stomach started growling. Really? Let's eat quick. Thank you. Oh. Mom, wash your hands first. Reprimanded by the ever-responsible Emma. I smiled wryly and headed to the washroom. At the dining table, lasagna and salad were already set, and the girls sat smiling, waiting for my let's eat. Feeling an indescribable happiness, my heart clenched. I never knew happiness could hurt until I had my kids. The first bite spread its tasteful flavor in my mouth. The three of us, chatting and eating together, made me think of one more person. I haven't seen Mia since that day. Even now, I think that for Mia, her biological mother will always be her mother, and I could never take that place. Her sensitive nature wouldn't allow it. That event was terrible, but maybe it turned out well for Mia in the end. Actually, Joey's parents contacted me to apologize on behalf of him. They were good people and always treated me and my daughters well. So, although I don't meet Joey, we still occasionally keep in touch with them. Through them, I sometimes hear about Mia and Joey. Joey, of course, but I'm also interested in Mia's life. After that incident happened 5 years ago, Joey and that woman broke up after a lot of trouble. Later, his parents were furious with Joey, and he and Mia ended up living in their house. It was probably for Mia's sake, as she's the first grandchild. And she was always dearly loved by them. Living with her grandparents must be a good environment for Mia. As for Joey, he hasn't remarried in these 5 years. After that incident, his parents decided to watch him more closely than ever, and he can't make any move towards women. In a way, it's a fitting restraint for him. In the first place, it turns out they never said anything about needing a male heir. They come from a long-established family and even run a small business. Joey was probably fighting with the pressure of being an heir on his own. However, his father seems to want Mia, his eldest grandchild, to eventually take over the family business. This spring, after graduating from college, Mia started working at his company and is learning the ropes. Mia, who had already been shining as an intern during her college years, is making them proud, as Joey's mother excitedly shared with me. I felt proud too, even though it wasn't my place. Mia will be fine, I'm sure of it. My only concern now is how these girls in front of me will grow up. Mom? What is it? I'm thinking of becoming a teacher in the future. Oh. Why's that? I want to be like my teacher, Mary. Not just to teach subjects, but also to help everyone with different things. That's great. It suits you, Emma. I want to be a CEO. Wow, a CEO? Where did that come from? I saw it on TV. There was this woman, a CEO of a cosmetics company. She was so beautiful, cool, and rich. Well, then, Lily, you have to work hard to become a CEO. Yeah. A CEO. I briefly thought of Mia's future. I hope the girls' dreams come true someday, and I'll do my best to support them. What kind of women will they become? I let my mind wander a bit. I won't be outdone by these girls. I have to do my best too. I took another spoonful of lasagna. The sweet and spicy taste of happiness spread gently in my mouth.